Alright guys, we're back with the 1996 Suzuki Rm125 video. Today we're taking this thing for the first ride since I don't even know when I picked this thing up. It's been like at least over a month. As you guys know, last video we got the crank back and the rod bearing was junk before I sent it out to be rebuilt. We got it back and it was smooth, good. We reinstalled it and then rebuilt the top end and got it to fire up for the first time. I think that was yesterday. So today's video we're going to be going over the carburetor because the first start was a little smoky, so I think it's running a little bit rich. We're going to check out the jets in there, make sure they're stock, because everything on this bike is stock except for the silencer. So we'll see what they recommend for the Pro Circuit silencer on here. But I think other than that, it's pretty much stock. I think the reeds are stock. They look like it. So it should have stock jets in here. And this is a Keihin carb, so it should be interesting. I also want to do a compression test to make sure we've got good compression, just so we have a baseline. And then we will take this thing out to my parents and test drive it, and then probably have to bring some jets along to maybe rejet it. So that is the plan. Hopefully everything goes smoothly and the rod bearing holds up, which it should now that we're running 40-1 in here. I think the previous owner probably ran straight gas and that's probably why it blew up. Hopefully that's the reason. But we replaced all that, and like I said before, it should be good. Tires are good in this thing. I installed the chain yesterday at the end of the video, so we're all good to go. We've got the air filter all oiled up, and I let this thing sit overnight and there's not one single drip leaking from this thing, so it's all tight. And that gasket on the case is holding up, so pretty happy with that. But yeah, let's get going and start digging into that carburetor. Alright, we got the carburetor off of the bike. Start digging into it, see what jets are in there. Something feels wrong in there. Oh. It's got a little bit of gunk in there. It's not too bad though. I think that's just solid on there. Yeah, it's like rust. That's what that looks like in there. Looks like the main jet is a looks like a 112. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I believe that's a 112. Pretty small. Make sure there's no liquid in there. Sometimes these can develop pinholes. Doesn't sound like any gas is in there, so that's good. Make sure the needle's good. The carburetor didn't leak at all, so the rubber on there is good still. Alright, let's get the main jet out and then the pilot jet. So the pilot jet's right in there, main jet's the big one right here. And then we've got to get the air screw out as well, just on the side, right there. Pilot's coming out. Let's see what we're running for a pilot. Then we'll have to check online what the stock ones are. So that's a 40. You can see right there. That was a little plugged up. That's probably why I had that hard time starting. You can see that's clear. Can't tell if it's a 172 or a 112. Looks like a 172 to me, but we will see. Alright, the air screw, let's see how much that was in. It was 1, 2, 2.5. We'll look up the stock setting for that as well. Make sure that's all correct. Here comes the spring with it. Like that. Put that off to the side. So we're going to take some carburetor cleaner, spray through all the ports, and take the air compressor and spray the rest of it out. You can see this is for the idle adjuster right here. We're just going to leave that in. But everything else is out of it. Alright, just got done looking online, and it turns out that the jets, this one is not a 112, it is a 172, and that's stock on there. And the pilot, I couldn't find if the pilot was a 40 stock. A lot of people were running 40, 45, so I'm sure that's fine. So we'll clean this out and then just put those back in. Seems like those settings are pretty much stock on there. And then we'll check the needle clip as well. Alright, we've got the slide right here. Let's check out the needle clip position. 6 mil. So this is kind of how that works. Goes in there like that. So it looks like the needle position is in the 4th position from the top. So we're going to move that and go to the middle position, which is stock. So we'll move it to the 3rd position right there. So now it's in the 3rd position, and we'll reinstall that. That just goes right in there like that. And then a little bit sticky. Make sure that needle can't push up. That's how you know it's locked in. Alright, that's all set to go. So everything is back to the stock settings, and then we're 1.5 turns out on the air screw, which was before 2.5. So those are the changes we made. Everything's back to stock. Alright, carburetor's cleaned and everything's set back to the stock setting. Let's see if it starts easier. Better. I try to get to the spark plug here. A little burn in my hands. Ooh, It's oily. Look at that. So I wonder if it needs a ring. Look how oily that is. It's brown though. Definitely oily. And that could be because I oiled up the piston and the cylinder and then put some oil on the crank as well. So it could be burning off that. But we'll see when we kick it open. Nothing's coming out of it. Okay. So it's probably just from the first start. We'll get the compression gauge in there. See what happens. Kind of feels like the compression's not that high, but it is a 125, so you never really know. I'll hold her up right here and we'll kick her over so you guys can see it. We're gonna do throttle open. Throttle open. We'll kick her over a couple times. Let's see here. Oh, we've got pretty good compression. 155 pounds of compression. That is plenty. It's actually a lot. So, compression's good. Okay, next I'm going to check the oil just to make sure it's not white. I want to make sure that the water pump seal isn't broken in there. So, it's quick. See what the oil looks like. Because sometimes it can smoke white if coolant's getting into it. And usually that would be because of the gasket up here failing, but because we didn't see any coolant come out of the top end, I don't think that's the problem. And plus it would probably be leaking on the outside right here, coolant. So let's just check and see if the water pump seal is bad. We'll be able to tell instantly. Okay, let's get a sample here. Should be normal oil color. And it's clear, so water pump seal should be fine. Seal clear, that is. If that was failing, it'd be all white. So that's good as well. I think maybe we just have to run it and clear it out. Maybe the pipe, like I said before, is just kind of coated with oil. So I think we'll take it to my parents now and go rip it around for a bit. See if she'll clear out. I'll take some jets with me just in case, and then we'll fill her up with some more 40-1. But it's either jetting is off, which it can't really be off, or maybe the crank seal failed, the new one. Very unlikely, but I guess anything's possible. Alright, bike is all loaded up, ready to go. You can see the leaves are falling everywhere. Getting chilly out, but should be good for a ride. We just put some 40-1 in, so we should be good. See ya out there. Alright, made her out here. A little windy today, so if you hear wind in the camera, try to ignore it. But here's the bike. At the end of the ride, we're going to pressure wash it because you can see it's pretty dirty, so all that gunk will come off of there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if it's going to run and how long that rod bearing's going to last. Who predicts it's going to last about 5 minutes? That would be my luck. So we will see. Hopefully it lasts a little bit longer than that. Yeah, first kick. Not too shabby. Let's hope the crank lasts. Here we go. Let's see if it moves. Because hopefully I didn't miss a piece in the transmission when I put it back together. Wouldn't that be bad? That'd be really bad. Alright, so far so good. Shifts through all the gears, and it runs pretty good. Brakes all work. Suspension feels decent on it. I think the back suspension might be going a little bit. What else? It's a little bit boggy. We're going to take her on the road and try to clear her out. Maybe on a long path and really rip her. See what happens here. Hopefully it clears out a little bit. Alright, here we go. First ride on the 1996 Rm125. I had to wait like at least a month and a half to ride this thing. Crank took 3 weeks to rebuild, so I couldn't do anything until that happened. And I had to wait for the rod to get here. That took a week. And then I picked it up like a month ago. So I'm pretty pumped to ride it for the first time. Let's do her. Let's see if she opens up here. I'm hoping she does. Starts like first kick every time now, so that pilot must have been clogged before. We'll let her warm up for a little bit. Yeah, so if it doesn't clear out, it's either the crank seal or the power valve's not opening. Gotta be one of the two. There we go. I think that was the power valve opening right there. Take her on the road and let her eat. Here we go. There we go. She opened up. Sounds like she's running lean now or something. Something's weird with it. Woo! Let's see if she idles here. I don't know. Doesn't seem like she wants to idle. Oh yeah, she's idling. Idle's a little bit low. Blowing a lot of smoke. Not liking that too much. I don't know. Sounding pretty weird. It's got like no low end. Very odd. Those power valves must not be opening. Something. Maybe once we get warmed up, they'll open up a little bit. Oh. There's always trees down in here. Be careful going through here. Let's go down the road one more time. See if she clears out a little bit. Odd, very odd. Opens up, but just a little late. Take her down here, full throttle here. First ride wasn't too bad. It did get up to speed, go through all the gears, and it did rev out. It just is weird down low. So what's happening is when you go on the throttle, the fourth throttle, it's really boggy. Then all of a sudden it opens up a little bit, sputters a little bit, then clears out. So the jets for down low would be the pilot jet, but that's basically for idling. And then basically the main jet is 3/4 throttle to full throttle. And I think we're fine there because full throttle, it sounds really crisp and good. But between there would be the needle. And maybe it kind of sounds like it's either running, it's either running rich or lean. And because of the oil buildup, I'm thinking it's running rich. So I'm thinking we could move the needle position up to like the top notch and see if that fixes anything, because that would lower the needle, allowing less fuel into the system. So we could try that. All right, took the spark plug out and it was caked with oil again, like an oil gas mixture. It's all black, but it's still brown on the spark plug. So I'm pretty sure it's running rich, just from that sludge that was on there. So we'll try changing that needle position to make it run a little bit leaner. All right, we got the needle out right here, and we're gonna put it to the second to the top notch, right there. So we'll try that, reinstall it, and see if it clears up a little bit. All right, guys. So played around with it a little bit, and I just noticed that it just ate through all that gas already. A gallon of gas, and we just went for a 5-minute ride. So it's burning through gas like nothing. So it must be running rich. It must be running really rich. So I think maybe the float height is a little bit off, allowing too much gas in or something. So we're gonna take apart the carburetor again, make sure that's all good. I played with the power valves a little bit, and I put this way so that the power valves would come on sooner, and that seemed to help a little bit. And then again, we changed that needle, and took it for a short ride, and then I ran out of gas and revved really high. So we'll throw some more gas in, do some more tests, but I thought that was pretty interesting that it ran out of a gallon of gas already. So it's definitely sucking up the gas. Sounds pretty good. Let's see. Oh, it's so much better. Oh yeah. Look how consistent that is now. Let's see here. We'll really hop on it right. Oh, that's a lot better. So what was that clip position? That's great. See how it doesn't take forever to come on anymore? That's what it should do. What, right? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Yeah, baby. Oh man, it's running great now. Listen to this. 3, 2, 1. Take her down the path over here. I'm probably running out of gas again. Put a half gallon in. Woo-hoo! I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, that is, it's a lot better. Misshift right there. Yeah, that was the culprit for sure. All right, I'm pretty happy. So the clip position all the way up, leaned it out enough to where it's not sputtering. It takes off good on the low end, so right in first gear you can go, probably wheelie easily. So I'm pretty happy with that. That fixed the problem. And then I think probably adjusting the power valve so they come on earlier helped a little bit. And probably the float height helped a little bit too. So the combination of all those things probably helped a bit. But yeah, it's absolutely just screaming right now. It is very, very fast. And it sounds great. There's no choppiness at all. So I think that's fixed. And we rode it pretty hard, so that crank is definitely holding up. So I'm pretty happy with that as well. Let's clean it up a bit. Let's get it pressure washed. All right, final look. Pretty clean. Well guys, we were able to clean it up, get it fixed up, and running great today, so I'm pretty happy with it. The crank held up, crank bearing held up, so that was awesome, and I think this bike's gonna be running for a long time. So thanks for watching guys, thanks for subscribing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the series on this thing. I know it was quite a wait, but hopefully it was worth it for you guys. I know it was for me. So anyway guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video, and until next time, we are out.